Yo, what's up everybody, FornaTRON here, and today we're talking about Bloodborne finally getting a PC port and how it's never happening. I've made a few videos already about Bloodborne and how I don't think it's ever getting a sequel and that I just think people need to let go of that idea. I constantly get replies in my comments or people messaging me being like, no, that's not true. Bloodborne has been confirmed to be working with blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, they haven't. That's all just bullshit rumors that have been around forever. I've made a few polls recently about Bloodborne and I constantly get people who are like, I refuse to buy a PlayStation and I'm just gonna wait until Bloodborne comes to PC. And it's like, bitch, you're gonna be waiting a while because it's not coming anytime soon. And I'll tell you why. Sony isn't stupid. They're not dumb. They're aware that PlayStation is the only platform where you can play two out of all of the From Software games that people want to play, Demon's Souls and Bloodborne. They're aware of this. They know that this is a hook to get you on their platform. They're in no rush to put those games on PC like some of their other games that they've ported to PC. They like having that exclusivity on their platform. And it's gonna stay like that. Like, I know there are games that have gone to PC like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, Death Stranding, and more to come. I'm putting it out there right now. I'm making this statement right now. You will not see Bloodborne or Demon's Souls come over to PC. It's not happening. These are my reasonings why I think this is not going to happen ever. One, like I just mentioned, the exclusivity. They like knowing that that's the only place where you can play those two From Software games. Two, it just doesn't really benefit them at all to move those games from their exclusive platform. And if they wanted to, they could have already, many times over. Let's talk about Bloodborne specifically. For those of you who don't know, Lance McDonald, he's the guy who posts on Twitter. He's got a great YouTube channel. He does it under the tag Man Fighting Dragon. But Lance McDonald, really known in the community, he made a hack essentially that will enable you to play Bloodborne at 60 FPS. You do have to downscale the game to 720p instead of 1080p, and this only works on PS4 Pros that have the firmware hack, so you can put unlicensed software on them. But he did that before the launch of the PS5, and he delayed releasing this patch for the PS5 to release, and then potentially for Sony to release something of their own. And that just never came. So he released this patch, and it works for the most part. It's great to see that game running at 60 frames per second, but it does struggle to keep that frame rate even on a PS4 Pro and even at 720p. We all know the PS5 could easily run Bloodborne 1080p 60 FPS flawless, and they just haven't done that. They could literally do that over the air. If you don't know, Ratchet and Clank, not Rift Apart, not the PS5 game, but the last game that came out on PS4, Ratchet and Clank, Sony released an over-the-air update that enabled 60 FPS on that game. There was no writing of code. There was no updating any of the game's code. They just released an update over the air that updated that game to 60 FPS. So they have the power to do it. They could probably do it just over the air. They might have to tweak some stuff, but Lance McDonald's already done the homework for them. They just have to do a few edits and they could probably get that game running flawlessly. Like, this would be an easy buck that they could grab, and they haven't done it. Why haven't they done it? So we can understand why during the PS4 era, that console's generation, why they wouldn't do it then, because it was still a current gen game on that console. So there's no point in remastering it or updating it during that time. But now that the PS5's been out for a couple of years, why haven't they done it? And a lot of you are like, it'd be so stupid for them not to. It'd make no business sense. With the height of Elden Ring and how popular Elden Ring is, they would be dumb to ignore that and not try to build off of that. It's like, they're not. They're not going to. It's not worth it for them. They could so easily do that with any one of their studios that they already own who do PC ports. They could just get one of them to take that on, and they probably have all the code from it. Like, the game was developed on a PC. Like, they could just make that transfer. I'm not a game developer. I don't know all the terms, but I'm pretty positive that they could make that transfer no problem. They could even just update it for just a PS5 remaster, that's 60 frames per second, but they haven't done it. Nobody seems to be reading these hints. That's Sony just doesn't care. They're done with Bloodborne. They're over it. They're just, it's out there. It's exclusive on their platform just the way that they like it. And that's good enough for them. They don't need to do anything else. Bloodborne has done its thing. It's a great enough game. It's renowned as a masterpiece, and it gets people over to the platform. Even if it gets you to like borrow someone's PlayStation, like they've won. They have zero plans to. They've had many opportunities to just update that game. So Demon's Souls came out in late 2020 for the launch of the PS5. And then let's say after 6 months, when the heights kind of died from that, they could have just released it then. Hey, by the way, did you like Demon's Souls? Bloodborne, 60 frames per second patch. Boom. Huge boost in numbers for the PS5. They didn't do it. They didn't care. Them being Sony, like they didn't have to like make it a free over the air update. They could have just been like Bloodborne remaster, $60. People would have paid for it. People would have, hands down, I would pay for it. I would pay $90 for it. I don't even care. They don't even have to update the textures, fix the anti-aliasing, fix the frame pacing. None of that shit that a lot of you guys comment on these videos or on my post about Bloodborne. They don't have to fix any of that. They could literally just make the game 1080p with a 60 FPS patch. I would pay $90 for that. And a lot of other people would too. They still won't do it. They're just like, no, don't care. When Elden Ring got delayed, or when we kind of finally got a release date for Elden Ring, found out it was going to be February or originally January, there was still like 6 to 7 months before that game was coming out. They could have released it then. They still didn't. And they're not going to. And now that Elden Ring's been out for a couple of months, they're probably going to hype up some DLC maybe later in the year, late year or early 2023. They could easily release it around that time. They won't. It's not happening, people. It's not. You're never going to see Bloodborne on PC. The only way you're going to see Bloodborne on PC is when people finally figure out PS4 emulation and you're playing it on your PC then.